This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special, CEO Ted Sarandos could have pulled the special. Instead, he reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass," never sound better, this is for you, Ted.
Bill Maher isn't backing down from his war on Hollywood's woke darlings. The late-night provocateur has reignited his crusade, blasting the celebrities who keep shoving the woke agenda down everyone's throats, like it's the latest Hollywood diet craze. In true Maher fashion, he tore into their shaky arguments, exposing the hypocrisy hiding beneath all that glossy virtue signaling. He opened with that familiar smirk and a truth bomb that hit harder than a studio scandal. Maher reminded his audience that today's witch hunts no longer come from Puritans or politicians. They come from Twitter mobs, Ivy League activists, and self-righteous progressives who treat outrage like a career. J.K. Rowling, once condemned by conservatives for writing about witchcraft, is now attacked by the left for believing womanhood is more than pronouns and lipstick. Maher marveled at the irony, how yesterday's villains become today's martyrs in the blink of a tweet.
But there's no getting around the fact that what was on the mind of the liberals that night in Brentwood, or wherever we may have been, was that the most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
The irony wasn't lost on him. Maher called it poetic, how the woke left worships its idols right up until those idols step 1 inch off script. Then they're tossed to the wolves faster than a box office bomb on opening night. Rowling's so-called crime? Thinking for herself, yet the mob branded her untouchable. Maher's list didn't end there. Elon Musk, once Silicon Valley's golden genius, was cast out the moment he spoke freely. Joe Rogan, once the progressives' favorite provocateur, became their prime target for daring to host the wrong guest. Even Maher himself, once celebrated as a fearless liberal voice, wasn't spared the sting of cancellation. His closing punch was brutal and clear. In woke culture, loyalty only lasts as long as obedience. The second you question the script, you're banished from their temple of tolerance.
So that was the point of the evening. How do we take a stand against cancel culture? And I suggested, since we were mostly all in show business, that we start an award show to honor the brave people who have fought back. Well, I got to tell you, the idea was met with great enthusiasm by everyone, and in short order, different people were suggesting the ways that their varied talents could be put to use. And then, of course, being Hollywood, nothing happened. But it's still a good idea, so I'm going to do it right here, right now, and not only that, we're going to do it every year.
If you are enjoying this takedown, please hit that subscribe button. That night, Maher posed a simple but searing question. How do we fight back against cancel culture? His answer was classic Maher. Start an award show celebrating the people bold enough to defy it. A rebellion wrapped in entertainment. He described the room lighting up as ideas flew. Banners, trophies, fiery speeches, all drenched in defiance. Hollywood adored the concept, until it was time to act. Then, predictably, silence. Maher just grinned and declared he'd do it himself. Right there, right then. Not only that, he promised to make it an annual tradition. If Hollywood wouldn't honor its truth-tellers, he would. The first honoree, Cornell University's president, Martha Pollack. When students demanded trigger warnings for grown-up topics, at a university of all places, she stood her ground. She refused to turn education into a daycare for delicate egos. Maher hailed her bravery. Pollock's message to students was sharp and refreshing. College is for learning new ideas, not for making you feel wonderful and always right. It was a masterclass in courage, something academia desperately lacks. Maher argued that higher education has rotted into an echo chamber, breeding strange theories while punishing anyone who dares to disagree.
Our first award goes to the president of my alma mater, Cornell University, Martha Pollock. This month, students there demanded trigger warnings before all the lectures in case any of the adult subjects you specifically went to college to learn about came up. And Martha said, yeah, no, we're not doing that. She didn't cave in or hire a new dean of sensitivity. She just said, no, college is for introducing you to new ideas, not for kissing your and making you feel wonderful and always right. You're thinking of brunch with your parents. I'm just amazed at how this generation can simultaneously be too sensitive for anything distasteful and somehow also so into eating. So, Cornell, I present you with these balls. I sure could have used them when I...
Maher mocked today's generation with surgical humor. How, he asked, can a group be so sensitive to words, yet so shameless in behavior? The contradiction was both funny and sad. Maher painted it vividly. Young people call themselves fearless and free, yet they crumble at the sound of disagreement. He called it the paradox of our time. Their hypocrisy, he thundered, is almost artistic. They chase shock value, but demand censorship for anything slightly offensive. Maher let that irony hang heavy in the air. Then came his next award, one no one expected. Trader Joe's, the beloved grocery chain, became his new symbol of resistance. For years, Trader Joe's sold quirky, culturally themed items like Trader Jose's. But when one teenager on Twitter called it racist, the outrage machine went wild. Maher reminded everyone how predictable the mob can be. The petitions came, the hashtags trended, and everyone assumed Trader Joe's would cave. But they didn't. They stood firm, saying, "We disagree, these labels are racist, and we don't make decisions based on petitions."
Our next award goes to the place where many Cornell grads will be working next year, Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's, who for years have been selling a line of ethnically themed products, trading on the name Joe. For example, they have Trader Jose's beer. So, of course, one teenager on Twitter heard the word Jose and said it was racist, and then there was a petition.
Maher reminded everyone that the mob isn't an army. It's just a few loud, chronically online voices screaming into the void. Their outrage burns fast and fades faster, disappearing quicker than yesterday's hashtags. From there, Maher moved to his next honoree, a titan of streaming, Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos, the man who refused to hand comedy over to the cancel crowd. When employees staged walkouts over Dave Chappelle's jokes, Sarandos didn't back down. He defended artistic freedom and said, "If you can't support our content, maybe Netflix isn't for you." It was a mic drop moment that rippled through Hollywood. Maher grinned at the memory. For making "Don't Let the Door Hit You on the Way Out" sound poetic. "This one's for you, Ted." The crowd erupted. Then Maher dug deeper, calling comedy the new front line of the culture war. The very art form that once thrived on breaking taboos now risks punishment for daring to make people laugh in the wrong direction.
Miley Cyrus once said, "I am moving if Trump is my president. I don't say things I don't mean." Here she is looking miserable, having to endure America at the Grammys last Sunday. I guess she flew back from Tajikistan.
Maher rattled off the names like a roll call of rebellion. Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, Joe Rogan, Rob Schneider, all targeted for jokes or opinions that didn't pass the purity test. He shook his head at the absurdity of it all. Comedy, once the last refuge of truth-telling, has become a minefield where a single misplaced word can destroy a career. The irony, he said, is painful. Comedians are now punished for doing their job, challenging norms, mocking hypocrisy, and holding up a mirror to society. It's like punishing a firefighter for lighting a controlled flame. The audience was locked in, hanging on every word. Maher's voice rose as he declared that the woke mob had infected even laughter itself. When you can't joke, he warned, you can't think. He brought up Tropic Thunder as a perfect example of Hollywood's shrinking courage. Once hailed as daring satire, it's now attacked years later by self-appointed moral police. But Ben Stiller, the film's star and director, refused to apologize. He proudly tweeted that he stood by the film and the people who made it, and Maher treated that as a standing ovation for common sense.
This next cojones goes to a man who's dear to my heart for standing up for stand-up. When dozens of Netflix employees walked out over Dave Chappelle's reckless decision to perform comedy on his comedy special, reminded his Netflix employees that comedy exists to push boundaries and told them if you'd find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. So, for making the phrase, "Don't let the door hit you in the ass," never sound better, this is for you, Ted.
Maher exposed the real danger. Not public backlash, but cowardice. Your career doesn't end because of criticism, he said. It ends when you surrender your voice. The line drew a mix of gasps and cheers. His message couldn't have been clearer. Stop apologizing for common sense, and stop trying to please people who will never be satisfied. He called it a battle for artistic survival. Maher's applause line landed like thunder. In the end, audiences respect courage far more than scripted compliance. It was the kind of truth Hollywood hears, but pretends not to. Then, with that trademark smirk, he turned his aim toward the Hollywood elite, who talk big and act small. The ones who shout about resistance, until it's time to actually resist. He rolled a clip of Miley Cyrus declaring, "I'm moving if Trump is my president." The audience erupted as Maher quipped, "Well, here she is, still here, miserable, but still at the Grammys." His timing was razor sharp. He added one last jab. "I guess she flew back from Tajikistan just in time for the show." The crowd roared. It was the perfect roast, quick, cutting, and painfully true.
You know, when movie lovers get together these days, one phrase that comes up a lot and always makes me sad is, "Yeah, you couldn't make that one today." Top of that list is the great Tropic Thunder, which the scolds have been after for years. But in February, Ben Stiller tweeted, "I make no apologies for Tropic Thunder. It's always been a controversial movie since when we opened, proud of it and the work everyone did on it." See, people, it's not that hard. He said it, and he still got a commercial. And the lesson is, if you stand up to the mob for just a day or two, their shallow, impatient, immature, smartphone-driven, gerbil minds will forget about it and go on to the next nothing burger, and you still will have your cojones.
Maher widened his target zone. He mocked the long parade of celebrities who swore they'd flee the country if Trump won. Grand declarations made for applause, not conviction. 9 months into Trump's presidency, he noted, not one had left. No moving trucks, no one-way tickets, no new homes abroad. Just the same champagne parties and red carpets in the same zip codes. He called it what it truly was, performative outrage, empty threats dressed up as activism. A show for cameras, not a principle worth defending. Eddie Griffin once claimed he'd move to Africa if Trump won, but Maher cracked. Apparently he's moving very slowly, because after 4 years, he's only made it to Van Nuys. The laughter shook the room. Then came George Lopez. He said if Trump won, we'd all go back. Maher smirked. Guess what? He's still here. The audience erupted, every punchline landing like a precision strike. But beneath the laughter was a sharp truth. Hollywood runs on illusion. These aren't prophets or philosophers. They're actors pretending to be moral guides.
In 2016, Eddie Griffin said, "If Trump wins, I'm moving to Africa." Apparently very slowly, because in Trump's 4 years, he only got as far as Van Nuys. George Lopez once said that if Trump won, he won't have to worry about immigration. We'll all go back. George Lopez still here.
Maher tore down the illusion with surgical precision. He said Hollywood's values shift with every trend. Their principles vanish the moment profits are threatened, and their integrity disappears as soon as the applause fades. He called them what they are: performers hooked on relevance. Every stance, every speech, every tweet, carefully crafted to stay in the spotlight. It's not bravery, he said, it's branding. And then came the knockout line. When the mob comes knocking, most of them fold like cheap lawn chairs. The audience erupted. It was the kind of truth that hits because everyone knows it's real. As the laughter settled, Maher's tone softened, turning sharp humor into quiet reflection. He reminded everyone that this wasn't just mockery, it was a wake-up call. Cancel culture, he warned, only holds power when people hand it over. Trader Joe's proved resistance works. Martha Pollock proved courage still exists. And comedians proved that laughter refuses to be censored. Hollywood may pose and pander, but true influence belongs to those who stand firm. Defiance, Maher declared, isn't risky, it's necessary. With that, the curtain fell. The applause thundered, the lights shimmered, and Maher signed off with a grin that said it all. Truth isn't dead in Hollywood just yet. As the credits rolled, one message lingered like static in the air. Stop bowing to outrage, start defending common sense, and never apologize for being real. Before the screen faded to black, Maher delivered his final signature line. If you enjoyed this, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned, because this fight is just getting started.